Satnam. My name is Harimandir Singh. I graduated from Midipidi Academy in 1999. And the school is very different now than what it was when I was here. But my first time to India, I believe I was 13 years old, and I came about a month and a half or 2 months after all the other kids. And for some reason, mostly my father decided I shouldn't go to India. So I was in Los Angeles, and the Sri Singh Sahib was at our Gurdwara there, and he saw me, and I believe his lines were, "What's he doing here?" And then before my dad could make up some excuse, he said, "Get him to India." And so there was a person going from the LA Sangat to India like within the next day or couple days. And so they got me packed up and ready and sent me with them to India. And I was a very, I don't want to say oblivious kid, but very living in the moment and not concerned about what was going on elsewhere in the world. So to me, India basically was the same as summer solstice children's camp. It was that far away, and that's where my friends were, and that was it. So when I got to India, I think the first waves of, I don't want to say reality, but just uncertainty were getting off the plane and feeling this wave of, you could actually see the smell and feel the heat. And I thought maybe something was broken in the airport. But as I got closer and closer to the exit and realizing that this was what I'm in, I was very much, confused. And then, oh yeah, I remember being in the Delhi airport, and this is my first time seeing the Indian-style toilet on the floor. And so I went to the bathroom to use the bathroom, and I walked in, and there was just a hole in the ground, and I thought to myself, something's missing. So anyway, we make it to the hotel. That was my first real taste of India, was the, whatever it was, 45-minute ride from the airport to the hotel, and just seeing, first of all, everyone was driving on the wrong side of the road, which was very confusing for me. And then there was cows, and I'd never seen a bike rickshaw or auto rickshaw, any of those. So this was all very new, and I was very much like, I don't think we're in New Mexico. So, get to the hotel. I felt very lost and oblivious to the whole thing. And then changed, I think I had $90 or $100 was my first year's allowance. And I changed that at the hotel. Back then the exchange rate was like 23 or something like that. And so getting that much money in rupees, I thought the guy made a mistake for sure, because it felt like a billion rupees. So that was very surreal, and I loved having a stack of cash that I'd never had in my life before that was actually mine to do with as I pleased, until I got to the school and had to turn it over. Anyway, so at the hotel, the woman tells me, the person I'm traveling with tells me, we're going to leave in the taxi tomorrow to go to the school. So in my mind, going to the school just around the corner-ish kind of a thing. So then the next day arrives. When we're down in the lobby, they say, my bag didn't come. I'm going to wait here one more day to wait for my bag, and you go in the taxi to this school, and I'll be there behind you. So to me, I was like, okay, no problem. I get in this car that's clearly a taxi because it looks like a car, and drive to the school, which is just around the corner. So we get in the car, and it probably took me a good 45 minutes before I was so ensconced in awe by the draw curtains, the super polyester draw curtains on the rear windows. I felt like such a VIP. I was just like opening and closing and opening and closing. So that lasted about 45 minutes. And then after we got out of Delhi, this was probably about an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. We're really out of Delhi now. It started really dawning on me, like, I have no idea where we're going, and I think we must have missed a turn. We're not at the school anymore. Like, the school is obviously not around here in the middle of who knows where. So maybe, I don't know which came first, the stop for food or the feeling of, I wonder what it's like to be kidnapped. Anyway, whichever one came first, let's say the kidnapping thought came first. It wasn't like it was a fear of being kidnapped, it was just more of a, I wonder if that's what's happening. And then at some point, that maybe was between hour 4 and hour 6 or 7, that kind of sensation of fantasy was floating around. Then we stopped for food, and now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure the restaurant said veg on the sign, but being from America and not having anywhere that was vegetarian to eat, really, I just assumed it wasn't. So I get in there, and I ask the guy, what's vegetarian? And I vaguely remember him saying, like, yeah, vegetarian. And of course, to me, I'm just like thinking, this guy doesn't understand a word I'm saying. Of course, they don't have vegetarian food, nor has vegetarian food. So I order plain rice and a Pepsi. And the guy's kind of waiting, looking at me like, what else are you going to order? And I was just like, well, you don't have anything vegetarian, so I can't get anything else. Anyway, I had plain rice and Pepsi. Was my first real Indian meal out of the hotel. And then we get back in the cab, maybe a kidnapper cab, who knows what it is, and we keep driving. And I think we left the hotel around 9 or 10 in the morning. And once it got dark, I had just resigned myself to the fate of the infinite. And I don't know if I fell asleep or not, but I remember I think it was around 1 in the morning, and we pull up to this house. And I was told a school, so I'm like, this is definitely not it. And the guy's like, here's the school. And I'm like, no, this is not the school. We're supposed to go where the white American Sikhs are. American Sikhs. And the guy's like, yeah. And I'm like, doesn't understand a word I'm saying. So I'm sitting in the taxi, kind of like, if I get out of the taxi and he drives away, then I'm stuck here. And I have no idea where here is. So after maybe 5 or 7 minutes of sitting in the cab, we were I think we were at the back entrance of the school, and there was these 2 rows of cupboards with a small opening. I remember seeing this like streak of a person, it was a white person, shoot by between the opening of the 2 cupboards. And I was just like, hey, I think I know that kid. So I got out of the cab, got my bags, cab driver drove off. I walked up the stairs and kind of stood there like, okay, I saw him go this direction, but who knows where that leads. I'll just stand here for a minute. And the kid came shooting back, whatever, a couple minutes later, like right in front of me, and then like stopped and looked at me. And I'm thinking like, I made it, I'm safe. And my first words of greeting to my new life in India, the kid stops, looks at me and goes, "Who are you?" And so that was my first welcome greeting to school in India. From there, of course, it was one confusing moment after another for a while. But yeah, that was my first trip to India. And it was a blast. I don't know if I was scared or not, it was just unique. So that's my story. Satnam.